Hello, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started, and that's good because I always hate ending like right on time, and because I have so much more to say, so they let me start 5 minutes early, so we should be perfect. And I will end on time because I know, I think I'm between lunch, right? Is it? So I'm Kupe, and there's a couple of things just admin-wise. We are recording today, so I was told they're recording from the end of the podium to the end of the screen. So this is gonna drive me crazy because I pace a lot and I typically go in and around the room. But for the recording, I'm gonna try to stick within those rules. And just for those of you, well, how many have seen me speak before? Okay, so there are a number. So I'll just warn you guys, I have 4 jokes, and I repeat them in every session, so you might hear the same jokes. So just laugh, like it's the first time that you heard them. So my background, real quick, is I actually graduated college with an accounting degree. My dad said, hey, you're good at math, you should become an accountant. Everybody needs an accountant. I then went through college and got my accounting degree, but I was pretty bored along the way. But I felt, I just got this degree, my parents helped me pay for college, I should use that degree. So I got a job in accounting, was still not really excited about it, but kept going. And what do all good accountants try to do? Take the Cpa exam. And I took the Cpa exam, and I am on record being the best failure of the Cpa exam ever. I don't know that for sure, but I didn't do well on the exam, and that was kind of my wake-up call. I got to do something different. So I actually still didn't know professionally what I totally wanted to do, but I had this itch for comedy. So I tried stand-up comedy first. Kind of did as well in stand-up as I did on the Cpa exam. I realized later in life I have dyslexia, and memory is, but like my working memory, short-term memory is not that good. So I couldn't remember my lines while I was on stage. But I heard about this thing called improv where there are no lines, right? So I went into improv comedy, auditioned for a few troupes, got brought in by one, trained up, and then performed improv in Atlanta for about 10 years. And at the same time, I transitioned into an IT career as a BA, PM. Now I'm consulting, training, an agile coach, and kind of gave up. At one point, my wife and I decided to have a family, and she said, okay, you have to stick to this IT career or the improv. We can't do both, because we were rehearsing 3 nights a week, performing every single weekend, and it was just too much with the day job and plus trying to raise a family. So kind of looked at the finances and said, okay, I make about $50 a week in improv. Maybe I'll stick to the IT. And half of that $50 went to beer after the show. So I literally came home with $200 a month. Didn't think that was gonna do it. So I stuck with the, obviously with the IT career, but as I grew up and decided to go into, I was the president of a training company for a while, and I kind of sat back and thought, well, what are some of the things that I do well, that I like to do? One was connecting with people, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But it's like, how do I succeed at that? How does that help me in my career? And I look back, and it was really the improv training I had and all the improv that I did that really helped me kind of be a better collaborator, a better listener, a better connector. So we are going to play in the beginning, we're going to play some improv games. It's really low key. I'm not going to have anybody come up and I'll give you 2 words and you have to create a scene. Don't worry about that. It's not going to be that crazy. But we are going to play some improv and have some fun. But in the end, this is about connecting and how do you use your connections on your team, but also for anything in life, and how to proceed and how you interact with individuals. So is anybody tweeting today? Oh, 1. Okay, good. All right. So everybody else can leave. I'll work with my. So one of the things I believe in is that we should be learning all the time, right? It shouldn't be learning now in a session like this. It should be learning constantly. And Twitter and other social media platforms are a good way to constantly be learning. So checking Twitter to see what people post, you posting stuff, the hashtag for this event is hashtag DSM Agile. I guess I don't know why I'm going over this. Only one person cares. So, but if you do, all right, yeah. If you do get the thought one day to, hey, maybe I should use Twitter, because it's good for the Kardashians. If you want to follow the Kardashians, and I do that, guilty pleasure. But it's also good to follow things professionally too, right? I mean, there's a lot of, especially LinkedIn is my big tool for professional tracking and learning and stuff. So I think social media could help, just so you don't, not just learning here when you read a book and go to a class. It should be happening all the time. All right, so what's my goal? My goal in life, and I came up with this years ago, is to meet everybody in the world. That was my goal. Why'd you laugh? That's not funny. I joke a lot. That was not supposed to be a joke. No, but that was my goal, and it's a big, hairy, audacious goal, right? I mean, it's unattainable. But I had a reason behind that. The reason was I know I'm not the smartest person in the room. Like I said this morning in my pitch, like we don't have enough time to know everything. And the amount of information that's coming at us every day, it's harder and harder and harder to be the most knowledgeable person in the organization. But what we do have time for is to connect. And if we meet everybody that we can, then at a drop of a hat with stuff in LinkedIn, people that I'm connected to on my phone, I know what anybody asks me, I have somebody that I can think of that I can reach out to, or I can reach out to my broader network to see if someone has that. So I came up with the goal, and I'll talk about some mindsets behind connecting, but I came up with that goal so that I would meet as many people. And some people have asked me, like, so how many people have you met? So it's now up to 28,427. So I thought that was pretty good. No, actually, I have no freaking clue. And people keep having babies, right? So it's like making it harder for me every day. But I keep pushing. So stop having kids if you can. That's the main message. If you get nothing out of this, help me out. Stop having kids. If I can get this 100 people here to stop having kids, I'll get closer. But that's my goal. So I'm always trying to connect with more and more people. So I want to hear from you guys, like what's to you, the good, bad, and the ugly? Like when you hear the word connecting, networking, what comes to mind? Oh, did I tell you this is an interactive session? So when I ask a question, I actually want responses. Some speakers might not. Awkwardness, okay, great. Uncomfortable. Anxiety. Friendship, good. Anxiety, you have anxiety about this? Okay, you're gonna love this session then, yeah. So, no, we'll make it easy on you. Success, good. Oh, yeah, networking's, why is that?
Well, if you say you're going to meet up for someone for drinks, for example, there's a lot less pressure than saying, hey, I'm going to go meet up with John Doe, he's the manager at John Deere, they're doing X, Y, and Z. All of a sudden there's pressure.
Right, so is manager Joe from John Deere here? Yeah, because I really need to meet him, by the way. No. Right, so it could feel like you have your hand out, like there's pressure to it, there's anxiety, it feels uncomfortable. What was the term you used? Oh, you used uncomfortable. Somebody else said, what did you say then? Awkward, right, yeah, it feels awkward, clunky, right. But I did hear some of the positive stuff, success, friendship, right? That's really what it's about. So I'm gonna give you some tools how to make it so it doesn't feel as awkward, so it becomes part of who you are. And you can use it for success, whether it's how you use it on your team, for how daily you and your team are connecting versus, connecting with the broader community to help you in your career and personal aspirations, okay? So here's how we're gonna go through the plan today. So we're gonna talk about how to meet, interact, and really foster those relationships you have, and then how do you even use your network, some tips around. So this goes into why you should have the network. How do you use it on a daily basis? And then some things to get started. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about, and this hits on a lot of the, networking be a four-letter word, that it's awkward, that it's scary, it's uncomfortable, kind of the mindset you have to have behind it. So the first thing is build it first, right? You shouldn't build it and try to connect with people when you need a job at John Deere. and now I need to go connect to the manager of the group that I want to work at John Deere. That feels weird, right? That feels like you're coming and just trying to meet someone. I want to meet Megan because she can get me a job. No, you should have met Megan already. Years ago, I was the president of the IIBA chapter in Atlanta, so a nonprofit group for business analysis. And when we first kicked off the chapter, there was this guy, Jared, that was there all the time. Not this Jared that you'll hear speak later, but a different Jared, right, that would come to the meetings all the time. Like 6 months in a row, he was there, and then poof, he was gone. Didn't see him. 9 months later, he comes back, and I'm like, Jared, where you been, man? You were here all the time, and then, we haven't seen you about 9, 10 months. And he's like, oh, well, I got a job, and I've been really busy. I'm like, so what brings you back? He's like, well, I got laid off, so I want to kind of come back and meet people. And I got mad at him. I'm like, dude, if you were coming every single month, you'd probably still have a job, right? Because you would be networking, connecting with people. Now you're coming to the meetings with your hand out, and everybody's going to be kind of pushed off, and that's what people don't like. That's why you call networking a 4-letter word, because people come at you for that. Are you actually a manager at John Deere, by the way? Is that? No, were you talking about a friend, or were you like?
No, I was just naming a company.
Oh, okay. It is one of the big ones here. So you want to build it, right? Build it before you need it. So you should be thinking about this all the time. You should be thinking about who do I need to connect with? And this is why I have my goal, as I want to meet everybody in the world, because I want to build my network. I always want to keep adding people to my network, but I don't filter who I meet. So I never look around the room and I was like, oh man, I wish they had titles on everybody's badge, because I want to meet directors and above in these organizations. No, I want to meet anybody. And because of my goal, I have to meet. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, what your background is. I have to meet Vish, because I'll never get to my goal if I don't stop. I'm right in front of Vish. I need to meet Vish. So don't filter who you meet. You never know when the relationship and how the relationship is going to blossom, right, when you meet them. It might kind of fizzle out and they might be an overall acquaintance or somebody you just connected to on LinkedIn, or it might actually be someone that helps you get over a big hump, or that you help get over a big hump, and you have a really tight relationship. So don't filter who you're trying to meet. And then don't keep score, right? So when you're in a relationship, don't keep score. It's not like, well, Megan helped me get a job, so the most I'm going to do for Megan in the future is it's equal or lesser value to helping her get a job, right? I'm not going to do anything more for Megan, because all she did for me was help me get a job. So that's all I can do. It's not a one-for-one thing in a relationship. What you give, you should give out as much as you can to help the people in the connections that you have. And it's not going to be one-for-one. So Jess, I might help Jess. Jess may never do anything for me, right? But Jess might be doing things for other people, right? And vice versa. So don't worry about if Jess helps you, and you should still help Jess even if she doesn't help you. And it's something like my wife said the other day. She's like, we were talking about who we wanted to invite to this dinner party. She's like, well, I don't want to invite them. They never invite us, to a dinner party at their house, right? That's keeping score. It's like, if you want to help somebody, just help them, regardless if they helped you or not. And then, and this might be for my anxious friend over here, right? Initially, it might feel awkward, it might feel odd, but you have to fight through that, right? So this is almost like fake it until you make it, right? I mean, have the attitude, push yourself, get yourself out of the comfort zone. Oh, I wanted to ask her, so who has the fixed mindset in here? Okay. Oh, we got one fixed mindset person, right? Yeah, so in that, I texted actually a coworker. You ever hear the term people say, oh, you can't fix stupid, right? Well, I can't say that anymore, because according to Linda, you can fix stupid, right? It's just how we talk to people, right? So I wonder how many people say that about me. When I do something, they're like, oh my God, you can't fix stupid. So I don't know why I said that. Let's get back on track. So you got to feel it, right? You got to, when you're doing this, so it might not be natural to you, but you have to kind of act like it's sincere, right? The whole thing, this is about sincerity. So, oh, you're one of the Cambridge investment research guys yeah. Were you the one that set up the meeting? Or it set up the registrations?
Oh, God, no.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was you? Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, so there's a bunch of people here their name is Investment Research, and they're from the company Cambridge. So I'm sorry for picking on you, but so what's your real name? Investment? Carson. All right. So what Carson is saying, like, you have to be sincere. He thinks network is a 4-letter word because people aren't being sincere about it. So even if it's uncomfortable, try to be sincere, and the tips I give you today will kind of get you over the hump. All right, so I said we were going to do some exercises. This first exercise, what I want you guys to do is, if you could stand up. I know a lot of you are probably close to friends or acquaintances. In this, I want you to find somebody that you don't know, okay? So if you guys can all do that, and then don't start talking yet. Just find somebody, and then I'll give you instructions, okay? All right, clap 3 times if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you can hear me. All right, so nobody listened to instructions. I said, don't start talking yet, but no, I knew that was going to happen. All right, so everybody should have a partner. If there's 3 of you, that can work too. But in 30 seconds, what I want you guys to do is find 3 things in common with each other, okay? 3 things in common, 30 seconds. You ready? Go. All right, clap 3 times if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you can hear me. All right, so who wants to share what they have in common with their partner?
So that's Jim. He works for Cambridge Financials, which is in Fairfield. He's a Scrum Master, and he knows Marshall University.
Is this what you have in common?
Yes.
So you both work for Cambridge?
No, we are both Scrum Masters.
Oh, you both have your masters? Scrum Master, sorry. So obviously I got to work on my listening skills, right, yeah. Which we're going to talk about in a second. All right, so both Scrum Masters, what else?
We both like to eat.
You both like, that's good. You survive.
We both have cell phones.
Both have cell phones, good.
Cheryl,
Yeah, as many as you want.
So we both have an undergrad degree, both live in Des Moines area, and both like podcasts.
All right, podcast, undergrad degrees, and they live in the Des Moines area, which makes sense because you're here. Right. All right, you went a little further. Both have kids, both lived in Connecticut. Anyone say we're both women? Yeah, okay, we got a bunch of those. We're both men. Or we're both at this conference, right? Yeah, right, yeah. We both work in IT or something like that, right? Okay, good. So now what I want you to do is, and this is typically how we meet people, right? So now I want you to go a little deeper. So I want you to switch, find somebody else, and I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to 3 minutes this time, and I want you to talk about, get deeper, try to get an understanding of what drives them, what they like to do, what they know, and see if you can still find 3 things in common. But go deeper than we're both women, okay? It's like beyond that. Or that we both need to eat. So go ahead, find somebody new if you can. Yeah, just go ahead and start. Yeah. All right, clap 3 times if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you can hear me. All right, you guys can go ahead and sit down, and then we'll talk about this. All right, so look at that. You just met some new people. So what was the, what are some of the things you learned with your partners in that session? What do you guys have in common?
Both like scuba dive.
Scuba diving. Okay, great. What else? Music.
We started out in liberal arts for college.
Okay, both started in the same kind of study, liberal arts in college.
Both go to the same tattoo place.
Wow, all right. Were you guys sharing tats over there? Like, this is a PG show, by the way, so yeah.
We found out that our current VP of development was his previous CIO, so we had some interesting conversation around that.
Cool, all right. So some coworkers that you,
Susan and I figured out we like camping, but we need electricity and flushing toilets.
okay, so you're not backpack camping and you need the plush camp, the drive-in camping. What else? Yeah.
We both like cats. We both have multiple cats.
Okay, like cats, have multiple cats, right? Good. So what's the whole point here? So this is, to me, this is like the introduction, right? This is when you're starting to meet new people. It could be new people on your team. It could even be people you know on your team but not know as deeply. So what's kind of the difference between the 30-second mode that I gave you versus the 2-minute mode? Why stronger bond?
It's a deeper understanding of the individual.
Right, so you learn more. So you learn scuba diving, camping, tattoos, right? I mean, more about the person and their personality and what they like. So why is that important?
If you can form bonds with people, you're more likely to open up.
Right, so do you guys like Carson talked about that if you can form deeper bonds, you're more willing to open up with them, right? So who do you open up to more? Who do you like to hang around with more? People that are vulnerable, that are like you, right? I mean, it's just, we like to know that, hey, you have similar interests that I do. We can have conversations about those interests, and it's not just about work. You want to be around people. And typically, like if you look at your entire team, not that you're going to have 100% in common, there's probably a lot of things that you can find in common with each other, even if you don't hang out in the same circles, right? Even if you had different upbringings, different religious backgrounds, there's still things that you're going to find. And if you know that, then it's like, wow, Jess is similar to me, so yes, I'm going to be more open with Jess. I'm going to want to work with Jess, right? So that's that's at the team level. But then broader than that is, within the overall community, as you're having this conversation, you're learning about the person, right? So I'm not a cat person, but now that I know you're a cat person, if somebody asks me a question about cats, who am I going to go to? My new friend, what's your name? Lauren, right? So anybody have cat questions? There you go. Right, so that's kind of the concept that you're trying to get to. That's why you're having this conversation. So how did you guys start the conversation? Someone give me an example of how the second conversation, how did you start it?
Peter had an Iowa State Cyclone shirt on, and I said, oh, like Iowa State, he said yes, and he kind of paused, like wondering what I was going to say, and I said, well, I like them too.
Okay, right. Yeah. What else? What did... Oh, what's your name? Okay. Introduce yourself, man. Like, the way you said that was like, give me your name. Yeah. Right, yeah. No, I know. No, but introduce yourself. What else?
Why are you here?
Why are you here? Right? So some of those are close. Like, I know other people that have said, hey, do you like sports? Now, you didn't really go out on a limb because you had an Iowa State shirt on. It would be kind of weird. But if you say, hey, do you like Iowa State? He's like, no, I'm a Hawkeye fan. So you didn't, but sometimes you can ask, like if you're asking more of a closed end, like a yes/no question, like, hey, do you like sports? Because if you're trying, like I like sports, and if I went, hey, do you like sports? You'd be like, nope. Then it's like, oh, okay. Do you like cats? Nope. Okay, nice talking to you, right? It's gonna be a little awkward, right? So my advice for a good opening is, where are you from, right? Because where are you from it's not, hey, where do you work, right? Because that could be defensive. Some people don't like that. But where are you from, people can take anywhere. They are from somewhere, so they can say maybe where they're born, like, oh, I was born in New York, but I live in Atlanta, or they might say where they work. They're like, oh, I'm working at John Deere. It could go many different ways, so it's not you won't put the person on defense, and they'll give you an answer, and then you can kind of take the conversation from there. So that makes it easier. So from Larry, from that anxiety, that kind of should help you. So to me, when I'm at a conference like this, my goal is to try to meet as many people as possible. So how many people would consider themselves introverts? All right, whoa, geez. And you guys work on teams? You well, what does that agile team look like? Nobody talks to each other. No, I'm kidding. So I know, and I'll just generalize about introverts. This is harder for introverts, right? And some of you said it's awkward, it's uncomfortable. So my thing is, you want to try to meet as many people as possible. But if it's really hard for you, my advice is find 5 people like me. So you have to meet at least 5 people, right? That want to meet everybody in the world. And then as long as you have us, we're your doors to meeting everybody else, right? So you at least have to meet, I don't know why I came up with the number 5. There's no science behind that, but like find 5 people that know a lot of people. But you have to do that. And what you'll find is when you start doing this, though, it'll get easier and easier. My other advice for when you talk to people and introduce yourself to people is do it on an elevator. I just got this blank stare from this, like, are you crazy? Why would? Right. I don't know, why does nobody talks on an elevator, right? It's the weirdest thing. But I like doing this on the elevator because if the conversation goes awry and it's not comfortable, you only have a few more floors to go and it's going to be over, right? So you can get in and out. It's a quick conversation unless you work in the principal building where it's like, I don't know, 30, 40 floors. Like, okay, it's going to be a long ride up. So my advice is work in a building that only has 6 to 8 floors. No, but so that's a thing that you can do. When you bump into somebody, it could be a way to meet. Again, this is about small interactions, small talk, that to meet people, and you never know where that relationship's going to go. Okay, so that's the conversation. So more on the conversation, and this gets into, as you're getting to know somebody more, how do you really make the person feel that you're connected to them, right? So this could be when you first meet them. It could also be as you're having conversations on your team. So in improv, there's a game called Yes and. And the reason for that is there's no denying in improv. We get on stage and we have no scripts, so if there's denials in improv, it stops the scene, just like me and Becky had that conversation. So, Becky, do you like sports? No. She just denied me, right? And now it got uncomfortable because now I'm like, okay, shoot, I got to figure something else. What's the next thing I can say? Do you like cats? No, shoot. All right, so it kills the scene. If you're on stage, it's a really boring scene. We're trying to make people laugh, and it would be really boring. So when somebody says something, you have to say yes and extend the conversation. So I'm going to have you guys play that game, right? Play yes and then we'll talk about it. So anybody want to volunteer, kind of just to demo the game with me? And don't come all at once. It's like there's not that much room up here. Larry, you want to do it? All right, come on up. Oh, did they take the... Hey, Steve, don't leave. Does that microphone still work that's back here, or it's off? Okay. All right, so Larry, here, we'll meet in the middle here. It looks like everybody gave you a hand already while I was trying to get a mic. So you're going to have to project.
That's
we
all right.
Have, oh, wow.
I've done theater.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Yeah. So here's how the game works. You guys are going to give us a topic, and then I'll start with a sentence, and Larry's going to say yes, and then add to the conversation. And then I'm going to say yes, and add to the conversation. When you guys are doing this, the one big thing is try not to ask questions, right? That makes it a little clunkier. All right, so what topic should we talk about? Chicken, yeah. All right. Do you guys have chickens here? I thought it was like pork, soybeans. Yeah. All right, chicken. So, wow. Did you see the line outside Popeyes the other day?
Yeah, and I saw a guy, and he had an order, and he said, this tastes just like alligator.
Yes, and last week I was in Florida, and an alligator bit half of my leg off.
Yes, and I was in Florida that same week, and the same alligator, actually sucked on my toes.
All right, we're going to end there because I don't like... I'm going to have to play this video for my family because I do not like feet. So that, I just threw up in my mouth a little when you ended that. All right, so you guys understand how the game works. So I'm going to give you guys a topic, and the topic is you're going to build a vacation home on the moon. So you want to use yes and to do that, right? So one person says something, the other person says yes and you keep on building on your ideas, and you come up with some cool stuff about your vacation home. Okay, so you can do this right at your seats. If you can pair up, that would be awesome. And if you have to do 3, yeah, go ahead and do 3.
Yes, and spacesuits that you put on right before you get into the pool.
All right, clap 3 times if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you can hear me. All right, so what did we build? What kind of homes? What are some of the things that came out?
Ranch home with an oxygen bubble and water filtration system, and the backyard has a magnetic field so that we can go outside and still.
Oh, wow, you guys like aeronautical engineers? Right, yeah. I can't even repeat half the things you said. Yeah.
Ours is going to have that same alligator.
Oh, that toe-sucking alligator, just always pops up, yeah.
Our mom's going to live next to Elon Musk and come over for Filipino food.
All right, so Filipino food and Elon Musk.
We have floating yoga mats.
Ah, yeah, what vacation home doesn't need floating yoga mats? Did anybody have a pool? That seems to, oh yeah, that's a weird one. That's comes up, everybody needs a pool on the moon. All right, so regardless of what you came up, that wasn't the point of the game, but how did it feel having this conversation with the yes and mentality? Awkward? So everything, so what did you learn in Kupe session? There's a lot of awkwardness, right, yeah. Got to meet people, I got to talk in this weird cadence of yes and, right. It was positive, right? It was fun.
Hard not to ask questions.
Hard, yeah. So this is not like a new elicitation technique. You know, you're not going to work with your stakeholders and say, okay, we're going to have this conversation about your needs, and I'll say something, you say yes and then add, right? Yeah. So, yeah, scope creep could definitely get out of control here. Right, so why did so how does this play into relationships and connections and how you talk to people every day? Yeah, so I wouldn't, I'll get to the agreement part in a second, but that it's better to have conversations with someone that's more positive, right, than...
I think you said it. You said no denies people.
Right, so how do you feel? Did anybody get close to saying yes, but? We have a few. So what's yes, but?
No.
It means no, it's a denial. So where I live now in the South, we have bless your heart, right? So when I first moved to Atlanta, so I grew up in New York where everybody's giving you the finger and right, I mean, so you used to that. I get to the South and day one, people are like, oh, Kupe, bless your heart. Bless, I mean, I'm getting blessed multiple times a day, right? And I'm like, why did it take me so long to move here, right? People are blessing me all the time. And then you realize bless your heart is like, oh, Kupe, you're not that smart, right? This is how it's really going to be done, right? So that's a passive-aggressive way of denying, right? And when people deny you over and over, do you want to be around them? Do you want to work with them? Do you want to connect with them? No, you kind of avoid them. So think about this just when you're meeting somebody. If you're just having a general conversation when you first meet somebody and you keep denying them in one way or the other, that's not going to build the relationship. It's not going to make that initial connection. And then when you have a relationship with team members, like think about if you're in a retrospective or if you're having conversations about how we're going to do something different and Monique says, hey, I think, I want to do this and that. And I'm like, nah, that's a bad idea. I tried that already. It doesn't work. And she's like, oh, well, we can do this. No, we don't have the money or the time to get that done. More ideas. I need more ideas. Do you think Monique is going to give more ideas? No, she's going to stop. So if you want to have good working relationships with your teams, you have to have this yes and attitude. But Larry said what he liked about it was like you like to be around people that agree with you all the time. But is that really what we're after on teams? I mean, we do want to have some conflict, right? We want to have different ideas come in. But if Monique shares an idea with me and I don't agree with it, how do I respond to Monique without saying, no, that's a stupid idea? Bless your heart, right? Yeah. All right, you guys are learning. You're listening. This is good, right? Now, so how do I respond to Monique without? I don't agree with Monique, but I have to have this yes and mentality.
Yes, and have you thought of this perspective on it? Bring up a point that you think is going to try to help verify, validate that maybe the idea is not the right idea.
Right. So. Right, are there other, so that's a way, right? Are there other perspectives? Have you thought, so, okay, I hear the idea, how does that idea play into these components, right? What else? Did someone have something different over here? Oh, it was over here, but I saw the hand here. My eyes are, yeah.
No, I did. I have a question about
Okay.
How do you do that, what I would feel like in an honest way? How do you disagree without saying, oh yeah, that's a good idea and blah blah blah, when you're like, no.
No, it's not a good idea. Right. So this is the term I use. So it's like slight variation of your term, but it's like help me understand. Like I use this all the time in a sincere way. It's not like I'm not like being rude about it. I'm saying help me understand how that idea fits into the goal that we're trying to get. Or like I know we have X, Y, and Z, so I'm not there with you yet. You got to help me get there. So keep selling me on this idea. And then one or two things happen, right? I mean, either the person's like, oh, it was just a crazy idea, you're right, it doesn't fit into our scope, it doesn't fit into our team norms or whatever, or they're going to convince you, right? So you have to have the attitude, you put everything back, your lack of understanding back on you, not on the other person. Because if Monique says something to me, to her, it's 100%, it's a good idea. She wouldn't have said it if she knew it was a stupid idea, right? I mean, completely out of the ordinary. She's bringing it up to do one or two things. Either maybe we don't go with her idea, but to get us to think. So you don't want to stop Monique from bringing things up. To her, it's real. So you have to put it back on yourself and be like, okay, I just don't understand enough about where Monique is along this journey. So Monique, get me there with you. And that's when she's either going to take basically one or two avenues. It'll be more towards, oh yeah, you're right, I can't even sell myself on this idea. Or they give you enough information to be like, oh wow, I didn't even think about those perspectives. So let's move forward. So put it on yourself that you don't understand, not that the other person has bad ideas. So Jess, like your attitude was like, oh, no, that is a bad idea. I don't even know where you came up, right? That's not how because that gets someone on the defensive, and then all of a sudden, they don't want to talk to you anymore, right? And you can't have on your teams, I mean, the whole Agile principle is collaboration. So, and building those relationships together to deliver something, solve problems. If all of a sudden, you're denying everybody, and everybody's just waiting there for you, well, just tell us what you want us to do, because obviously our ideas suck, right? Okay, make sense? With me? All right, awesome. All right, just for time, I'm going to skip the listening thing, but listening is a huge component in Agile, right? And you really we have so many distractions amongst us today that kills relationships too, right? If you're not really actively listening to the people you're working with, then they're automatically gonna feel like you don't respect them, and you don't respect their ideas. So when you're having a conversation with someone, the thing is to focus on them, not be like looking at your phone. Yeah, Jess, go ahead, I'm listening, go ahead. Do you think I'm really listening? No, because we can't multitask. Who has multitasking as a skill on their LinkedIn profile? I did a search, and there are a lot of people that have that, and we really can't, right? I mean, we switch task all the time for the stuff that we do. So, especially when you're having conversations, you really got to forget about everything else. So when I was on stage, you have to forget everything else around you, and you have to just be watching and listening to the other actors around you, or you would get kind of off in some tangent that has nothing to do with the scene going on. So you really have to stay focused and be a good listener. All right, so those are a couple of things about how you connect with someone, how you start to have conversations with people to really hone in that connection and get a good relationship. And now these are just some quick ways to start to foster the relationship. So in a little bit, I'm going to talk about the ABC list that I have. But you should use technology to stay in touch with people, right? I mean, it's so easy now, right? We don't have to write letters like we used to back in the day. Are there any young people, like, what's a letter? So my wife is really good at pushing my kids to write, like, handwritten thank you notes, and I think it's really good. We've lost that skill or that characteristic. And when you're having this conversation, you're thinking about three things in common when you're meeting people and when you're constantly having conversations with them, use that to keep that connection. So like there's people that I've learned, got to know year after year, and when something pops up, like if there's an article that pops up, it's a way for me to stay connected with the person, because I'm like, you know what, they might be interested in this. So I'll just quickly send them a link or text them a link. And then it shows to them that you're thinking about them. And you're not thinking about them just when you need something, right? You're thinking about them for them. So try to recall the different things you learn about certain people, and as things come up in your daily life, share that with them. So don't just let those relationships kind of go away to the wayside. Always be thinking about if there's going to be a people in your smaller circle that you want to be thinking about all the time and how you can stay connected with them. All right. Now this, one of the other things I do is I'm a DISC facilitator. Anybody hear of DISC? So a few of you, Myers-Briggs, any of the personality profiles. What I like about DISC is that there's outward behaviors that people have that you can see and understand and be able to kind of know where they fall in which quadrant they fall in. And then that allows you to determine how to interact with them, right? You're gonna build a better connection with people if you interact with them the way they wanna be interacted with. So I'm a big believer, there's the golden rule, do unto others as you want done unto you. But this is like a different rule. It's like do unto others as they want done unto them, right? So you have to know how they want to be worked with so that you can change your style to meet theirs. So this is going to be a little clunky with the people in the middle, but what we're going to do is I'm going to give you 2 questions to ask about, and you can ask this about a person and know which quadrant they go into. Okay, so if everybody could stand up, and I want you to think about this for you guys, for you personally, and we're going to put you in the quadrants, right? So the first thing is to know your style, and then you can learn about other people's. So the first question is, are you fast-paced and outspoken, or are you cautious and reflective? So if you're fast-paced and outspoken, go to the back of the room. If you're cautious and reflective, come to me. And if you're still thinking about it, you're cautious and reflective. So come to me, right? The way this room is set, I appreciate you guys being flexible, but this is really powerful. So is everybody kind of in their quadrants somewhat? And people will always say, well, I'm kind of in the middle. Yes, when you do like the full DISC assessment, you're not kind of just in one quadrant. You might be in like closer to one, but closer to another. But for this, I want to put you deep into one of the quadrants. So now so fast-paced and outspoken are the folks over there, cautious and reflective are down by me. And then the next question is, are you accepting and warm, or are you questioning and skeptical? So questioning and skeptical, or accepting and warm. So so stay front to back, but if you're accepting and warm, go to that side. And if you're questioning and skeptical, go to this side, to my right. All right, so now we should have people, excuse me, Amy, we should have people kind of in their quadrants, right? So up in here, you guys should be Ds, right? So you're questioning and skeptical and fast-paced and outspoken. Here we have, let's go around this way. So here we have Is, right? You're fast-paced and outspoken, but accepting and warm. You're my people. I'm an I too. S's, so you're cautious and reflective, but accepting and warm. And C's, right? Cautious and reflective, but questioning and skeptical, right? Does that make sense? All right, so let's talk about the Ds. Let's learn a little bit about these. So what are some characteristics of you guys? What's that? Yeah, what's in it for me? So what is it? How would you describe yourself? Results oriented. What else? Like to be in charge. What? So, you're one of them, obviously, though. So you're mean. No. Stubborn, right? You guys are to the point. Like, so here's like really motivated, direct, results oriented. We want to get stuff done, right? And the D's do come off, and I'll talk about that in a second. You can come off as mean, right? You guys are hard drivers. You're fast paced. Let's get stuff done. Let's move forward. So how, well, I'm going to skip this and come back. We'll do a full loop and talk about it. So what about the influencers? What do you guys like? Fun, right? Yeah, so they're mean, we're fun, right? Yeah. No, fun, what else? Collaborative. Ideas, right? This is like the big idea group, right? So let's list these out, right? So persuading and influence. Oh, these are the gregarious groups. So if you come into the office, or if you're sitting at your desk and you have your headphones on, you'll hear these people coming into the office, right? Because hey, good morning, everybody. What's up? It takes them like 4 hours to get to their desk so that they can get some work done, because they've talked to people, right? But the bottom one, right? You love to work with other people, right? It's about collaboration. What about my C group here? I mean S group, sorry. What? Encouraging, yep. Accuracy is a little more, what'd you say, not mean? Yeah, right. Accuracy is more on this side, but what else? So not mean, encouraging. Oh, right, yeah, reflection, exactly. So here are some of the things. So stable, organized, loves collaboration just like these guys, but are encouraging. And if you include this group in conversations, they're going to be the biggest supporters of the team than anybody else, right? They want to see the team succeed, and you use that word, encouraging. All right, so what about my conscientious group? Perfectionists, yep. What? Compliance, yeah. Compliant people. I always say you guys are my grammar police, right? If I have a spelling mistake on there, you guys know you found it already, you're still thinking about it, and you've emailed me twice to tell me to correct the document, right? Right, but you guys are very detail-oriented. You want to know the steps. You perfectionist. It's got to be perfect, right? So here's that. So let's talk now about. So how do you guys think we should work with Ds? If they're very direct, to the point, results-oriented, what do we do? Right. Avoid what? Oh, avoid that. No. Actually, I think Ds do get a bad rap because you guys come across very strong, right? So a lot of times you guys are viewed as, and you said want to be in charge, right? Become those real hard drivers, but we need them on our team, right? But if you interact with them, if you get to the point with these guys and say, because they don't want to sit in an hour-long meeting, right? It's like, what are we trying to accomplish? Let's get it done. Right? So be direct, talk about results, what the things mean getting us to the end game, then they're going to be more open to having the conversation with you and want to work with you, right? You sliding over? Is that more like you? Yeah.
Pushing me out.
Oh, right, yeah.
I just want to be more.
Yeah, the fun group. So what about the I's? How do you approach an I? How do you work with an I? No, you guys are fast-spoken, so you don't... Yeah, how can you help me get that done? Right, because the influencers know a lot of people. They're happy to go out. They want to work with other people, right? So you can use them. What else? What about small talk with this group? Do you avoid that? No, this group needs it, right? And I'll give you my quick example is 2 years ago I did a co-presentation. One person was a D, the other person was an I. And the D person, and each person I said, let's just meet an hour every week and we're going to talk about our presentation. So the D, we'd pick up the phone, she'd be like, okay, Kupe, we got 3 things we got to knock out this week. In 20 minutes, we were done with those 3 things. She's like, awesome, talk to you next week, click. I'm like, and I'm an I. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like she didn't ask me how I was once, didn't care about, I felt used, right? It was like she just wants to use me for my brain, right? It's like, but the I, it was like 55 minutes of, hey, what's happening with this? How's the kids? How's the dog? Blah, blah, blah. And then we're like, oh, shoot, we got 5 minutes left. We better work on something. So I would say, did we get the presentation done with my D faster? Absolutely. Did I have more fun? Because I'm an I. Did I enjoy it better? It was easier to work, and I would work with my I friend because he gave me more stuff. Now, all the D friend had to do to me was And I gave her what she needed. I didn't do any small talk. I was like, yep, let's get to it. Instead of just hanging up on me, she could have then taken 5 minutes and kind of caught up in what's happening before she slammed the phone on me, right? And that's all, that would have made me be like, yeah, I want to keep working with this person. It was actually good. She kept us on task. And that's something with I's you have to do. You have to keep this group on task. All right, what about S's? Give them hugs, yeah. No, so like I said, this group, they love to collaborate. They want to be part of the conversation, bring them in part of the team, and then they're going to support you. But if a D comes at them in stress mode and is like, let's go, move faster, we got to move, this group is going to kind of go off into the corner and be like, this person's rude, they're mean, I don't want to work with them, right? So you guys have to, I think across the aisles here is where it gets a little difficult. S's, you got to speed up a little and give D's what they need, but D's, you have to slow down a little when you're working with them. And then what about the C's? Like I said, C's, you guys, they're perfectionists. They said that, right? They're looking at the details. They want the details. So the big picture thinkers of the I's, when you come with a big picture idea to this group, they're like, okay, we got 20 other things we got to do. Where do we fit that idea into this? Give me the steps. And you're like, dude, I'm just talking about stuff, right? Where it's just a big idea. Who knows when we're going to get it done? But you guys want to know that, right? So you got to come to this group. And for me, I know, like, I like to draft stuff and throw it to my C friends to look over it. And they're like, a grammar checking and doing. I'm like, I don't care about the grammar yet. Just we're talking about the idea. Does it fit in? And you have to let them know, like, hey, don't look at the spelling. Don't look at any of that. I just want to see if we're on the same page with the big idea, right? So does that make sense? So if you know the style of the other person, then you can kind of give them what you need or what they need, not what you need, right? So I's, you have a way of working, but you have to give everybody else what they need to build that connection and build that relationship. All right, awesome. So we got about 5 minutes left. Let's just wrap this up quick. If you guys can go back to your chairs. All right, so a couple more things as you guys get back. I know this room takes an extra minute. Yeah, so it was almost 25% across the board, right? And the way DISC works is you actually, it is a normal distribution around the world, right? And you actually want to look at your team and do a quick assessment of your team. If you guys are all, how much work is going to get done if we have all I's on the team? Nothing. How much work do you think if we have all D's, right? If everybody is directing, you said you want to be the boss. So you have 10 people that all want to be the boss. Do you think it's going to go over well? No, right? So you don't want to have all D's. You don't want to have all I's, S's, and C's. You want to have a good mix on your team, right? That makes up a good team. So this would be a good exercise even when you go back to your team. Say, hey, let's get in the four corners and see kind of where we are. Make sure you have a good balance on the team. All right, so this is something I want to show you that I do pretty much weekly. Like, I have my A, B, and C list. So I try to meet a lot of people. I can't keep in touch with everybody. But every week, I think about, like, who do I really need to be connecting with? Who do I need to be thinking about? So that's, like, in that inner circle. Then I have a B list. Like, if I have time, then I'm going to expand that. Here's the other group. And C's, I'm sorry, I probably know you, but we don't have enough time to be constantly connecting and fostering relationships, right? But you should be thinking about, right? Because it's not just meeting somebody and then poof, they go away. It's like you got to keep fostering that relationship. So have that ABC list. The other thing I want to talk about is how you use your network, right? You're not going to meet everybody, but you might have to try to influence Michael and Angie out here, right? But I don't have a relationship with Michael and Angie, but I do have a relationship with Charlie. So I'm going to talk to Charlie about, hey, I got this meeting with Angie, And this is what I'm trying to cover. What is her style? How should I approach this? What is it like, right? So use the people that you do know until you meet everybody in the world. Like, use those people to get connected to the other ones, okay? So it's not just about kind of making the connections, it's how you start to use them on a daily basis. So the one thing I want to talk about here is I want you guys to have a goal, right? So I have a goal every week. I want to meet 5 people, and I want to like foster relationships with 5 people. That's my goal every week, right? And that's how I'm going to get to meeting everybody in the world. So I just challenge you guys, whether it's 1 person a month or 10 people a month, whatever that is, make a goal to meet new people and connect with new people, and to have a goal for who are you going to foster that relationship. I know our daily lives are so busy, right? We're working probably more than we should be, and you're like, oh, now I got to connect with people too, right? But you have to fit in time for this, right? If you don't fit in time, you're going to be like that guy Jared, right? That's going to come with his hand out trying to, somebody give me a job, right? And I don't want you guys to be in that position. So set a goal. And one of the things, so just a quick show of hands as we have 1 minute left. Show of hands, who eats lunch at their desk kind of all the time or at least 3 times a week? Yeah, this is like an unscientific survey. It's like 75% of you are eating lunch at your desks. And I'm not saying to go out to lunch with people all the time, but that is an indicator that you're not getting out enough to make these connections, because lunch is a good time to do that. It could be walking to a meeting with someone. It could be grabbing a cup of coffee, but you want to be going out and making those connections. So a lot of the stuff that I talk about and kind of like formed the way I act on a daily basis is from this book, Never Eat Alone. So it's a good one if you, it seemed like a lot of you read, so that's a positive thing, according to Linda. All right, so we're not going to have time for this, but I do want you to think about what did you learn, what did you get out of this, and how you can apply it tomorrow. So my information is here if you want to stay connected, and I'll give some final thoughts is you need a plan, have a goal to meet people. Right? It's not just going to happen. You have to think about it, especially if it's not natural to you. And then don't filter who you meet. Just meet people, right? And then those relationships will start to grow. Thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed it.